Hey everyone, welcome to Reality TV News Update, the place where we bring you the latest updates, fun moments, and behind-the-scenes stories you won't want to miss. Over the course of its 49 seasons and 26 years, Survivor has put its contestants' strategies for outwitting, outplaying, and surviving through dozens of unique challenges. Whether the show's castaways were competing for an array of different rewards, from brand new cars to feasts catered by Applebee's, or for safety in the game in immunity challenges, the contests have required players to test every aspect of their Survivor mettle, from endurance and strength to smarts and social savvy and everything in between. Now, in anticipation of the upcoming premiere of Survivor 50 in the hands of the fans, longtime challenge producers Christopher Milhouse Marchand and John Kirkoffer have provided fans with a definitive ranking of the 50 best challenges the long-running reality competition series has ever seen, as well as revealing that the greatest of all time challenge has only ever seen the light of day once in the show's unprecedented 26-year run on CBS. Producers of Survivor identify the greatest challenge ever. In a new interview with Parade, Marchand and Kirkoffer talked about the legacy of Survivor's many challenges. They revealed that even though fan-favorite challenges like Last Gasp, Hand on a Hard Idol, and the Survivor Auction cracked the top 50, they all fell short of the top spot, which went to a challenge called It's the Long Way to the Top. The challenge, which is also known as Crate Smash, first appeared in Survivor Coromany. It required 2 tribe members to make their way up a 4-story tower. The pairs will throw crates down the tower on each floor, breaking them to release sandbags or coconuts that can be used as ammunition. One pair of crates will collect the ammunition after all 4 sets have been thrown down, and the tribe will then throw it at targets. The winner is the first tribe to hit all of their targets. The challenge was later used on international spin-offs of the franchise, like Survivor South Africa Champions, but it has never been used again on the main U.S. show. According to Kirkoffer, the idea for the challenge came to him while reading a story in Rolling Stone magazine. The contestants' producer disclosed they were talking about the heyday of Led Zeppelin and Van Halen, and that they would throw televisions and anything else out of hotel windows to watch them fall to the ground, she added. Marchand explained that they wanted to replicate this same rebellious rock and roll spirit for the challenge. Marchand added, "What we do is try to make these people look like rock stars. We give them every opportunity to look like a rock star all the time, and they couldn't help but look like rock stars during that challenge." The top 5 Survivor challenges as invented by them. In Kirkoffer and Marchand's definitive list of the top 5 Survivor challenges of all time, the following challenges joined It's a Long Way to the Top and Crate Smash. 5. Always on the Run, aka Big Simotion, played for the first time in Survivor Ghost Island. Get a Grip, also known as I Love You Pole, first played in Survivor Vanuatu, featured in Survivor 48 as of late. 3. Rise to It, also known as Out on a Limb, Temple of the Dog, first played in Survivor Borneo, featured in Survivor 42 as of late. 2. Vin Scully, aka The Maze, aka Dragon's Breath, first played in Survivor the Australian Outback, last played in Survivor Ghost Island. For a show built on repetition, ritual, and tradition, Survivor has always understood the power of a great challenge. From grueling endurance tests to elaborate obstacle courses ending in puzzle showdowns, challenges are the backbone of the game, equal parts spectacle, strategy, and psychological warfare. However, insiders and fans of Survivor claim that the show's greatest challenge is one that has only been attempted once in its 26-year history. Even the most devoted fans of Survivor have been taken aback by this information, especially as the show approaches its landmark 50th season. How could the most celebrated challenge ever designed disappear after a single appearance?
It turns out that the answer is complicated and has a lot to do with what Survivor has become. A struggle like no other. During the early seasons of the show, when production was still experimenting with the limits of what reality television could impose on its participants, the issue in question first surfaced. It was a pure mental endurance test, unlike the modern challenges that focus on balance, speed, or solving puzzles. It forced the castaways to deal with fear, isolation, and psychological pressure in a way that is rarely seen on network television. There were no dramatic water drops or flashy obstacles. Instead, the challenge reduced the game to its most basic components: patience, time, and the ability to remain composed when every instinct wanted to quit. Contestants were isolated from one another, unable to gauge how others were performing. There was no music, no encouragement from Jeff Probst, and there was no visible countdown. Without knowing how close victory might be, the only way to win was to outlast everyone else. It was brutal for players. For viewers, it was unforgettable. Why fans still call it the greatest? Over the years, fans have debated endlessly about the best Survivor challenge of all time. Endurance classics like Hands on a Hard Idol and visually stunning events like Last Gasp often dominate the conversation. However, this one-time challenge consistently ranks high among avid viewers and former players. Why? Because it perfectly encapsulated the essence of Survivor. It wasn't about physical dominance or athletic ability. Everyone had a chance, including younger contestants, smaller players, and strategic masterminds. What mattered was mental toughness, the willingness to sit in discomfort, embrace uncertainty, and trust yourself when there was no external feedback. Several castaways later admitted it was the hardest thing they had ever done on the show, even compared to starvation, harsh weather, and sleepless nights. One former contestant described it as the moment I realized Survivor isn't a game, it's a psychological experiment. Why it was never repeated? Given its impact, the obvious question is, why was it never brought back? The challenge's genius was also its biggest problem, according to production sources and Jeff Probst's comments over the years. It was too intense, too unpredictable, and too difficult to control from a television standpoint. Modern Survivor relies on pacing. Producers need to know roughly how long a challenge will last to fit within an episode's structure. This challenge, by design, had no clear endpoint. It could end in minutes or stretch on for hours. There were also safety concerns. While no one was seriously injured, the mental strain was extreme, and production had limited ways to intervene without compromising the integrity of the challenge. In today's era, where challenges must balance drama, safety, and time constraints, recreating something so raw would be a major risk. The evolution of Survivor challenges. The disappearance of the challenge also reflects how Survivor itself has evolved. Early seasons leaned heavily into social and psychological experiments. Challenges were often simple in design but profound in impact. As the series grew, so did expectations. Challenges became bigger, louder, and more visually complex, designed not just to test players, but to deliver cinematic moments. To ensure fairness and safety, challenges in the new era of Survivor are more standardized, frequently reused, and carefully calibrated. While this has resulted in thrilling television, some fans contend that originality has been sacrificed. That's why the revelation about the long-lost challenge has reignited nostalgia among viewers who miss the show's more experimental roots. Could it reappear? With Survivor 50 on the horizon, speculation is running wild. Could the greatest challenge ever finally make its comeback? Jeff Probst has hinted that milestone seasons open the door for big swings, iconic players, legendary twists, and yes, unforgettable challenges. While he hasn't confirmed anything, he has acknowledged that the show is actively revisiting its history in search of ideas worthy of such a massive celebration.
Nonetheless, bringing this particular challenge back would necessitate significant alterations. It might be possible with shorter time limits, clearer safety procedures, and subtle production tweaks, but purists worry that changing it would destroy what made it unique in the first place. Part of its magic was the uncertainty. Is it even the same challenge once you have control of that? Why it still matters. Even if it never returns, the legacy of the challenge endures. It serves as a reminder of a time when Survivor was willing to take risks, when it trusted its audience to appreciate quiet tension and psychological depth over constant spectacle. In a franchise defined by evolution, the fact that the greatest challenge has only been played once feels both tragic and fitting. A lightning strike that could not be captured twice exists as a perfect, unrepeatable moment in Survivor history. As the show looks ahead to
Survivor's
its
challenges
next
have become iconic over its more than 2 decades on the air. Fans can instantly picture towering obstacle courses, endurance standoffs that stretch for hours, and puzzles that have decided the fate of entire seasons. However, the show has revealed in a surprising revelation that has rekindled debate among fans that the challenge that many consider to be the show's greatest challenge has only been played once in its 26-year history. Yes, once. It then vanished without a trace. For a series that often reuses and retools its most popular competitions, the idea that the most acclaimed challenge was never repeated feels almost unbelievable. Yet the reasons behind its disappearance reveal a lot about how Survivor has evolved and what it may have lost along the way. A one-time experiment that changed everything. The challenge debuted during Survivor's early era, when the show was still experimenting with what reality television could ask of its contestants. Production wasn't yet focused on flashy visuals or tightly timed segments. Instead, the goal was simple: push people to their limits and see what happened. This challenge was different because it took away nearly everything that was familiar. There were no head-to-head matchups, no roaring crowd, and no clear sense of progress. Contestants were separated, left alone with their thoughts, and forced to endure an experience where time itself became the enemy. Players had no idea how others were doing or how close they were to winning. There was no encouragement from Jeff Probst, no dramatic music cueing an ending, and no guarantee that quitting wouldn't immediately cost them victory. The only option was to keep going or give in. It was risky from a television standpoint. From a psychological standpoint, it was devastating. And from a fan perspective, it was unforgettable. Why fans still call it the best ever? Survivor fans have debated the show's greatest challenge with fervor over the years. Classics of endurance are favored by some, others point to visually stunning, physically brutal events that left players collapsing in exhaustion. However, a different reason this one-time challenge keeps coming up in conversations is that it revealed who people really were. There was nowhere to run away, no teammate to lean on, no physical strength advantage. The challenge rewarded patience, self-control, and the ability to tolerate discomfort without knowing whether it would pay off. It has been described as more difficult than starvation, sleepless nights, or harsh weather by past contestants. One player later admitted they broke down emotionally, not because of pain, but because of isolation. Another said the challenge felt longer than the entire season combined. That level of raw honesty is rare on television, and precisely for this reason, fans continue to discuss it. The real reason why it didn't return. Therefore, why wouldn't Survivor bring back a challenge that had such a significant impact? The answer lies in control, or rather the lack of it. Modern Survivor operates within tight production constraints. Challenges must fit into a fixed episode runtime, accommodate commercial breaks, and meet strict safety guidelines. This challenge offered none of that predictability. There was no way to know how long it would last. It could end quickly or drag on for hours. Editing it into a compelling TV segment was difficult, and producers had limited options for stepping in without interfering with the integrity of the game. There were also growing concerns about mental strain.
While Survivor has always tested psychological endurance, this challenge pushed boundaries in ways that might not align with today's standards of player care. In short, it was brilliant, but nearly impossible to replicate safely and consistently. How Survivor challenges have changed. The disappearance of the challenge highlights a larger shift in Survivor's identity. Early seasons treated challenges as social experiments. Simpler arrangements resulted in more profound emotional effects. As the show matured, challenges became bigger, louder, and more athletic, designed to look impressive on screen and deliver quick, dramatic outcomes. Fairness, reusability, and efficiency are carefully balanced in today's challenges. Many are variations on familiar formats, ensuring players and viewers know what to expect. While this evolution has produced thrilling moments, some fans argue it's also made challenges feel less personal. The one-time challenge stands as a reminder of when Survivor was willing to make viewers uncomfortable and trust that discomfort would pay off. Could it ever come back? With milestone seasons like Survivor 50 approaching, fans are once again asking the big question: could the greatest challenge ever finally return? According to Jeff Probst, anniversary seasons encourage contemplation. The show is actively revisiting its history, exploring iconic moments, and looking for meaningful ways to honor the past. That has fueled speculation that long-forgotten challenges could be reimagined. Nonetheless, bringing this one back would be difficult. Any attempt to shorten it, add time limits, or increase production oversight risks undermining what made it special. In the first place, the challenge was successful because it was out of control. Once you tame it, you fundamentally alter it. And that's the paradox. The very reason it was great is the reason it may never return. A perfect Survivor moment frozen in time. The idea that Survivor's greatest obstacle is a one-time occurrence is oddly poetic in a franchise that is constantly reinventing itself. It represents a moment when the show took a leap of faith, one that paid off creatively even if it couldn't be repeated. The challenge continues to serve as a benchmark for devoted fans. For newer viewers, it's a legend, spoken of in clips, interviews, and message boards, but never experienced firsthand. As Survivor continues into its next era, the legacy of that challenge serves as a reminder that sometimes the most powerful moments in television aren't the loudest or most spectacular. They're the ones who force people to face themselves and sit with uncertainty.